Hi, it's Pete Moore, welcome to PTM Guns. Okay, what I have here, it's something that Ruger made and still do, but not in this format. It's the M77 17 all-weather. This revolves around the 17HMR. 17HMR was designed by a guy called Dave Emery, who was Hollanday's chief ballistician back in 2002. And essentially, they wanted to put more oomph into things, and they took the 22 Magnum case, which is long, necked it down to 17 to fire 17 grain projectile, VMAX projectile. When I read about it, and most people I knew read about it, they thought, what is this? I'd never even really heard of 17s before, and we would just say, what good is it? It's a little tiny 17 grain pill, how's it going to kill anything? Anyway, they sent me the 7717 standard gun because Ruger at one stage never introduced the American line. This goes way back before the American line, so all the guns, wooden stocks, later on synthetic stocks, they were built around a similar action to their M77 full bore series. Okay, rimfire's different the way it locks, but they were built like a big rifle, which I always liked. With a couple of boxes of one of these 17 grain ammo, I went to Bisley with a friend of mine, and we shot it 100 yards, and it was blindingly accurate, which really did impress me. Then we moved back to 200, and it wasn't doing much worse. And I was absolutely amazed. And it suddenly occurred to me the potential of this cartridge for varminting, rabbits, hares, that sort of thing, because it gives the rimfire legs to reach out 200 yards on a good day. It is wind affected, but that's neither here nor there. If you can shoot and the wind's right, I've headshot rabbits and hares 200 yards with it quite confidently, or off the bonnet of a Land Rover with a bag. But I didn't really like the slimness of the original 7717. It was a sporter build, and I was told by the importers, Viking Arms, that give it 6 months to a year and they'll produce a heavier barreled version. And I waited, and 6 months later, what came through was the 7717 all-weather. It's an all-stainless build, heavier barrel. This stock is a custom stock. The original stock was grey laminate, quite pretty, just a standard rifle stock, but I like thumb holes, so eventually I would have changed. The rifle came with a 24-inch barrel, which was a little bit daft for a 17. I shot it a bit and tested it, and I was getting figures out of it, and then I realised it was far too long for what I wanted. I got it cut back to 20 inches, rethreaded and recrowned, and velocity didn't change, so really that extra 4 inches of tube was a waste of time. Feed is from Ruger's 9-shot rotary magazine. It's 9-shot because of the size of the cartridge rather than 10. Mag's reliable. Change is bloody awkward because the mag catch is a flush plate at the back, and it's just awkward to get hold of. I've got a 15 round banana mag for this if I'm doing anything like culling rabbits and things, which just makes it a lot easier to put the mag in and out. I got mine, and it did have some teething problems. Initially, the stainless steel barrel, it would shoot 1/2 inch, and this gun pretty much still shoots 1/2 inch. After, I think I got it in 2003, so do the math, this gun must be at least 20 years old. But what I did find, it would shoot like 15, 16 rounds up to 1/2 inch, and after that, the groups would expand. I mean, not just an inch. They would step over the line of anything. It might go from 1/2 inch, and inside another 5 or 6 rounds, it had gone to like 3 or 4 inches. I realised that the barrel would take some running in, so what I'd do, I'd keep a log of the shots. After I'd fired 16, I'd give it a good scrub out, clean, and I think after about 300 rounds or 400 rounds, it finally settled in. Now this thing shoots well, and I don't really have to clean it unless I want to, which is nice. But it's just one of the idiosyncrasies of this rifle. Carbon steel of 17s don't sort of have that issue. It just seems to be the stainless that Ruger used. As to the stock, say the actual grey laminate stock, very nice, looks pretty. I love thumb holes, and I got this made from a custom stocksmith. It's a green mounting camo, so it's like brown, green, and sort of grey. Length of pull cut to me, everything has been made custom for my hand, and it's just a beautiful stock. It free floats the barrel, And the rifle is a little bit heavy, but I tend to use it more supported, you know, from a rest, off the bonnet, that sort of thing, or from a shooting tripod, because it's a long range rimfire, so I treat it as such. So if you're familiar with the M77 full bore range, then no surprises. Bolt locks in the middle, locks down, cock tangent indicator, 3-position safety catch, fire forward, middle safe with bolt operation, and rear full lockdown. Plus it has a lug that goes into the tail of the striker, so physically it's locked as well. It's quite good. Unusually for this rifle, it uses Ruger standard rings. They come with rings that interface with dedicated mounts on the receiver, but the M77 rimfire series offers 3 mounting positions rather than 2 on the centre fire. The trigger from the box was okay, but I swapped it out for a Rifle Basics trigger many years ago, which is tunable, and it really does have a sweet break. It's about probably £2 and crisp and short and light, just what you need. When you're sniping things like rabbits at 200 yards, you need good trigger control. Okay, and now the bad news. Ruger still make the M77 rimfire series, but they no longer make it in 17 HMR. If you want a 17 HMR Ruger bolt action now, you've got to go to the American series. With ammunition, is that when it first hit, it was only Hornaday with their 17 grain VMAX, which was doing 2,550 feet per second, pretty much on the money. Then Federal got into it, a CCI, people like that, and more ammunition appeared, Winchester ammunition appeared, Remington as well. And there was some really good years of ammunition. All of a sudden, ammunition quality starts to go downhill, and there was people complaining from various brands about having breech explosions, cases splitting, that sort of thing. I had an incident with this when I was zeroing it up on a Friday afternoon for some varminting, and I fired it, it didn't sound right, and I opened the breech up, chamber was clear, went to load the next round, it wouldn't go in, so I instantly stopped, because if that happens, you don't try and force it. And I couldn't see anything, so I took the model off, put a rod down the barrel, and I knocked out just the bullet. What it was, the ammunition I'd had, there was no powder in it, and it had seated the bullet into the commencement of rifling. I was very lucky because the bullet didn't go far enough in to allow me to chamber a new round, and if it had, things would be very different. But I've heard of other guns going up and blowing off the magazine parts and things. But it looks to me like the industry, for the last good few years, have got their act together, and ammunition quality has gone up again. But overall, this is, I think, my oldest rifle that I've never changed because it never needed changing. Okay, I've changed different scopes and put the stock and things on it, but there it is. That's the Ruger's 77-17 all-weather, which is an absolute peach, and it's a pity you can't buy them anymore. Okay, let's just fire a few rounds, because it'd be madness not to. I'm using Hornaday 17, which is a nice little load. There are other bullet weights you can buy with this. And after the 17 came out, then they produced a 20 grain bullet. This is a ballistic tip, but the 20 grain is a jacketed jacketed hollow point. The round's going quite easily. And the good thing about it is it's slightly less destructive than the 17, and it was good for sort of less meat damage, but it never found favour. People liked the 17 perhaps because it was quicker. And then later on, Hornaday introduced the 15.5 grain NTX, which was probably one of the first non-lead rimfire loads ever made. And it had a sintered tin core, I think. And I used it, and it's as accurate as the 17 grain bullet, no question about that. And it travels at the same speed. But really today, most people just use 17 grain. Okay, a few rounds in the gun, clip it in. Here we are. So I've got this 0 for 100 yards, and I know my drop's out to 200, and at 200 with the load I'm using, drop is about 7 inches without looking at the paper, but that's it. So you can dial it in or you can hold over with it depending on how you like to shoot. So the beauty of it is, it's 0 recoil, barrel doesn't get really hot, nor does the moddy, you don't get heat haze off it, and the power it gives. Give an example, at 200 yards, it's still producing 78 foot-pounds. And when you think about what the subsonic 2.2 produces at 100, then you can realise how powerful this cartridge is. So, I hope you like that little sort of blast from the past as it really was. Cracking rifle, still going strong, and I imagine a lot of people have got these, they're all going strong still. The only thing that might happen is that barrels might wear out, but a friend of mine's a gamekeeper, and he bought his the same time he bought mine. He's put a lot more ammo through it than I have, and I've put a lot through mine, and it's still going strong. So, and it's like really, I suppose, like a mini rimfire sniper, but it does the business. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, tell your friends. Support the channel. If you want to speak to me, it's the usual thing. pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com. And I'll catch you again soon. Be good, shoot safe.